For a season in my life, my wife would always say a phrase that I've learned to love. If y'all been with me, y'all heard this and y'all know this now, right? But here's this phrase: trust the process. Now, I used to struggle with that phrase. Not because I had issues with trust. I want to say that clearly to everybody. That's not why, right? It was because I believed that the process would be hard and long, and to be honest with you, kind of miserable. All right. Have you ever been there? Say it out loud, put it in the comment section. The point is, in this episode, we're going to take it a step further. And it's not just about trusting the process, but actually, watch this, y'all, finding pleasure in it. Come on, somebody. So, we're going to talk about embracing the divine flow and aligning ourselves with peace and with pleasure and joy and discovering moments that daily moments that we are going to be able to enjoy every step of our journey. How does that sound to you? Prayerfully, it sounds amazing because that's why we're here. So, what's good, Elevation Nation, and welcome to the Elevated Podcast, where the IT stands for inner tugging, and we are here to elevate emerging leaders in self-awareness, love, and leadership. I am your host, Christian, joined. I am thrilled. I am super excited because I feel like you ain't been here in a while, but to be joined with my beautiful wife, Lyneesha. Hey, girl. How you doing?
I'm great.
You're great.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Are you finding pleasure? Do you have pleasure? You looking at pleasure right now? Okay, this ain't that type of episode, but we might go there at any given time, right?
I'm sure we will.
Let me get back to Elevation Nation, all right? Are you ready for this? All right, type in the comment section to let us know that you're ready for this, ready to get into this, and I want you to repeat something after me. But first, I'm going to take a sip. This episode is brought to you by the Elevated Podcast mug. And hold yours up too, real quick. You can hold it. I know this ain't prompt too, but hold it up. The Expanding Brands mug right there. Okay. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. All right. I want you to say this after me. All right. I choose pleasure. I experience peace. And my mind is elevated every day. One more time. I choose pleasure. I experience peace. And my mind is elevated every day. Now, let's dig into this and talk about aligning ourselves with that peace, that pleasure, and also that joy. And so, I have her here sitting with me. I might as well talk to her, right? Are y'all with me? Right? So, baby, I want to know, how do you personally make sure that your thoughts, your feelings, your words, your beliefs, your actions are vibing in harmony throughout the day? The people are listening.
I think the biggest part is first just recognizing when they're not. Like things happen throughout your day. Things come up. Something might deter you, distract you, frustrate you, whatever it might be. And in those moments, every single one of those moments, we have a choice. And sometimes I find myself not making the highest choice and going down that path of not so great thoughts or not positivity, not high vibes, but like walking in that frustration, staying in that frustration. But it's recognizing when that happens and choosing to shift it. So I have a couple of tactics that I use. Music is one of them.
Okay. You put on some trap music.
Somewhat.
Trap.
No trap music. I don't know. I listen to a variety of things. So in this season, I it's very likely that I'm going to put on like Christmas music.
Even if right now people are watching it in July.
It's very possible because I have Christmas albums on my library.
Okay.
And there have been times randomly in a season that is not Christmas that I would choose that because it makes me feel good. It's joyful, it's fun. I also like classical music. That something about the rhythms in classical music kind of just like raises me up. Like I find myself like, moving. I've kind of, some of them I know pretty well now, so I kind of like hum along with them or move along, whatever. So that is often my go-to because it's simple. I can still keep doing what I'm doing if I'm driving, if I'm working, just turn on something and keep going about what I'm doing. Other times it's a stop in the moment and to take a couple deep breaths and release whatever it is that I'm feeling. And the last thing would be, well, I guess not the last thing because there's other things, but meditation is great as well. So sometimes the deep breaths or the music just doesn't take me all the way there. So making this space and time, I might not be able to do it right there in that moment.
Yeah.
But making the space and time to actually go into a full meditation, and that helps.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Hopefully you've heard something that you already agree with, that you're already doing, Elevation Nation. But hopefully this resonates with you. And I love those examples and those things, and it's transparent pertaining to what that is. And I agree. Music. I'm not on the classical side, but I do listen to jazz. I listen to a lot of soaking music. I listen to a lot of just meditative music as well. So we're in the same far as that. I spend a lot of time in meditation. I probably meditate 2 or 3 times a day. So that's super helpful on the area of staying vibing high. And I'll be honest with you. I'm always honest with you guys, but and that's not always to say I get up with flowers and rainbows in my face and just super excited, because to be honest with you, there's times that I wake up feeling low. And so when I've felt that low, we've learned too that you're not your feelings, you experience them. And so you can start that intention, set that intention at the beginning of the day. And so it can be affirmations. It can be different things like that. So I have in my phone some affirmations that I open my eyes. I kind of do a virtual scan in my mind and just go through my body parts. I sit in a place of gratitude, and that kind of helps to shift. No, it doesn't kind of, that really starts it. So just finding just simple things, and we'll go a little bit deeper into that, but to be grateful for. Sometimes it's just the fact that I have breath in my body.
Yeah.
And sometimes I look over there and I see you, and I'm grateful for that as well. I mean, I'm always grateful, but I'm saying sometimes that's what it is, of the area of gratitude, or something that I'm doing from the area of the day, or just the feeling of peace. Or I remember one time it was even cold in the room, and I was like, I'm grateful for this breeze right now.
Yeah.
So it's those things that can kind of shift it as well. And yes, meditation, yes, music, all those things are super, super helpful. So I want to know, Elevation Nation, right where you are, you can put some things out there in the comment section. Activities, sometimes it's putting a smile on our face. And even just, you said, in this season, and you guys who are following us on social, you'll see even on my reels this upcoming week how I put one of our trees together. We have 2 Christmas trees right now, thanks to my beautiful wife.
Right now.
Anyway, so we were coming from a service, and I was like, I just want to go with the thing that helps me to move forward. Right. And so when it's something that helped me move forward and help me to vibe high, I wanted to make sure that I followed that tugging. So that tugging for me was putting up the Christmas tree. Now it's the older Christmas tree, got a little sentimental values to it, but it started to speak to me at that place. And so I think a lot of times we sit and like, well, how can I find joy? It came from within. Like, it was my feeling within that led me to that. Does that make sense? It wasn't just like this was different for me, because y'all know my story. For me, it's been external validation. So for this time, it was an area of just with me, like listening to what I felt compelled to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it didn't matter who was there or who wasn't, because sometimes you could be disappointed in those seasons of time.
Yeah.
When everybody ain't here to go ahead and have this moment with me and do this, and it wasn't even about that. This is what I felt like doing. And so, anyway, that helped me make it. I'll get off my soapbox. All right. So what do you do to help you align and help you be positive? We want to know about that. Did you want to say anything else on that, babe?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned gratitude, and that's really a good one too, because often, like when the negative thoughts or things come to mind, just looking around and choosing to find something to be grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't have, like you said, it doesn't have to be something grand, huge, a big miracle happening, but, literally look outside and you grateful for the sun shining, or a bird, singing at your window, or, looking at your kids who sometimes might get on your nerves, right? But looking at them and choosing, God, I'm grateful for the joy that they do bring to my life. Like, I'm grateful for their life. I'm grateful for their presence, how they teach me. Like, all these things that we can choose versus the other thing.
Mm-hmm.
We always have a choice.
Absolutely. That's power there. Always having a choice.
Yeah.
Elliot posted, shout out Elliot if you're watching this. I think it was like last week where he made a comment on one of my posts, and he said how joy, pleasure, peace, it's available to you. So that area, that choice, that thing right there, it was so simple but yet so profound, because it was like, it's always available. It's always available to me. But do I choose it? And sometimes I could be in my feelings, sometimes I be in my thoughts, sometimes I'll be in whatever the case may be. And I'm like, wait a minute, like, this is available to me. Am I choosing joy? Am I choosing to experience? Am I choosing to enjoy this moment? All right. So I love that. I love that. I love that. So I want to jump a little bit into like embracing this flow though. All right. Because it's a flow. It's a divine flow within. We talk about the inner tugging. And by the way, I thought you were going to say, I gave you a perfect plug to be like, I used a inner elevation toolkit, and that's what I used to go ahead. Anyway, we'll get to that. And if you want to copy,
by the way,
we'll talk about that later, because the things that we're talking about is also in a toolkit that is a free download for you. That is in the link is in the comment section and on our socials and different things like that, because we want you to continue to stay in this place of inner elevation, no matter what's going on outside of you. All right. But anyway, this flow, embracing this flow. So I want you to be transparent with us. Just take us to a place in your life that you felt like this is an inner tugging, where I feel like I'm supposed to do this. I want to do this. I'm desiring to do this. This is where I feel like God, divine source, beauty, love, presence is leading me in that direction, but I'm a little hesitant. Mm-hmm. Right? To flow in that thing. Have you been able to pick anything out there that you've ever dealt with?
Well, it's a funny question, because I think that's kind of the space that I am in most times.
Wow.
Because I'm an overthinker. So often when I'm feeling the tug to do something, I have a million thoughts that go through my mind. Okay. Well, what if this and what if that, and the hows? And I know you're not supposed to get into the hows, it's not up to us. But in the moment, I'm like, how's this going to happen? How's this going to work? Where am I going to get the money? More recently, within this year, I felt tugged to start hosting these classes for young girls. One of my business is, I don't want to say crafting, because I just don't feel like I'm a crafter. I say that all the time. And one of my coaches, she yells at me because I say I'm not a crafter. But I have a t-shirt business, and I do marketing and all of the stuff. So I design, create all of that. But I wanted to create a space for young girls, not necessarily just to teach them how to make t-shirts, right? Not just to teach them how to press something, but I just felt this, like, I love empowering women in general. But it made me think, like, what if I can reach them younger? Like, I don't want women to have to wait till they're 30, 40, 50 to start figuring out, oh, it's okay to be me, like I did. So, and that was the bottom line. That was really the root of what I was feeling, was to get these girls in a space where they can learn how to just be free in who they are, loving who they are, and, you know, using creating t-shirts or designs or doing those things to kind of open up that conversation. But I hesitated and I thought about it, and I was like, I don't know if people are going to come. You know, there's a million people who do this. Like, why would they come to mine? You know, all the things. And then one moment it just hit me, and it was like, no, you're supposed to do this. And I couldn't figure out where the money was going to come from. So I kind of started putting things out there, and I'm like, hey, we're going to do this class. And long story short, like, nobody was signing up. And so that even more made me hesitate. Like, maybe I wasn't supposed to do this. Like, but it would not leave me. There was that tug that's like, no, I'm not letting go. And long story short, it came out where people just started giving, and I ended up with finances to pay for girls to attend the class, so they didn't have to.
That's what I thought was in your tongue that you wanted to release, to elevate the girls. It's okay. No, go ahead. They had to pay for the class.
They didn't have to pay for the class, and so I had the class, and they loved it. And you know, coming up soon, I'm having my third class now, and which is actually almost filled up. Like, this will be the first time. I'm saying it now. It's in like 2 weeks, but it'll be the first time that the class sells out. And so I'm excited about that. We gotta
celebrate that. Come on, y'all. We can celebrate with her. Come on, that's okay. Put your emoji hands together.
Thank you. But yeah, so I did hesitate, and sometimes I wondered, like, well, what if I didn't hesitate? How quickly would things have evolved? But the more important thing is that I hesitated for a moment, and then I chose to keep going. And that was not just on my own. That was with your support. That was with our therapist's encouragement and enlightenment in this situation. And, really just choosing to just keep going.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Is this an area of, I know the answer, but for the people, because we're talking about the area of joy and pleasure and peace. So you're going back to this area where you feel like this is what you want to do. Did you know you would enjoy it before you did it? I just want to kind of track that pleasure path a little bit.
So it was more like I felt compelled to do it.
You felt compelled to do it,
yes,
but not necessarily a pleasure at that time. It's a tug.
No.
Okay.
I was pleasantly surprised.
Wow, look at that.
Because I have not worked with children in a very long time. Like, I taught Sunday school and things when I was younger. When I was in like college was probably the last time that I actually, no, we did youth ministry, but they were a little bit older. This is like 10-year-olds to 16-year-olds. And I was like, and they're girls, and it's a whole thing. I know I'm a girl, but I don't always find myself like connecting well with younger girls. So I'm like, well, how am I going to do this? What's it going to? So I was really more nervous than anything to actually do the class. But once I got in the room and I started talking with them, and they were connecting with me, and we were vibing and going back and forth. And I think I came to you and was like, I really enjoyed that.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, it was like one of those things where it was like, oh, like, I could do that. You know how sometimes you do something, you're like, all right, when's this over? And then there's other times where you're like, yo, I belong here. Yeah. Like, that's how it was.
Yeah. And I don't take this time to just talk to Elevation Nation, and thank you for sharing that, because again, everybody's pattern, everybody's experience is different. So I'm not saying everybody is going to not have an area of pleasure or realize that. But the thing is that you track that flow, right? That flow. I feel that divine tug, and I'm leading with that. I'm going with that. And whether that's familiar to know that it's a little nervous, a little anxiety, a little intimidation, whatever the case may be, all the things that you, as you say, you've been saying, right? All the things. You went after it. You went with that and led and went from there, not even necessarily knowing all the hows, and it all panned out. So that's an area of you trusting the process, like you say, but also leading to that area of it led you to a place of pleasure, but you wouldn't have necessarily known if you had not been willing to embrace
Yeah.
and align and cooperate with the divine.
Yeah. I don't think I ever would have. I think if I had backed out the first time when I wasn't getting any registrations and it seemed like nobody was gonna
Mhm.
gonna do it, I don't know if I would have revisited.
Mhm.
I think I may have talked myself out of it because I didn't get to the point of pleasure.
Mhm.
And I feel like sometimes um Holy Spirit is nudging us, tugging us towards pleasure.
Mhm.
But we might not realize it up front, but it's just the choice to go with that tug,
Mhm.
knowing that God always knows and wants what's best.
Sure.
Right?
Mhm.
So I believe that that is what that experience was teaching me.
Yes.
Like, this was out of my realm. This was out of my scope of things. I was literally like working on trying to put together things so I could coach women.
Mhm.
And I do that.
Mhm.
But this thing is like, I haven't done anything in a long time that has made me feel this fulfilled.
Mhm.
When I do it, outside of, being a wife,
Mhm.
being a mom, those things are great. That's my everyday life.
Yeah.
But to step out of that, because sometimes for women, even like that becomes our identity.
Mhm.
Like, that's who I am. I'm a wife. I'm a mom. Like, and to step outside of that and truly like go in and do something that, like, there's pleasure here too.
Yeah.
Right? Simply by being me, simply by showing up and doing what I felt compelled to do. um it's awesome. And like one of the people that I follow online, he says, you just go, you go after the thing that brings you joy, and you keep going until you can't go anymore.
Mhm.
And that's what I'm doing with this,
Mhm.
until it or source
Yeah.
says this is it, there's something else,
Mhm.
then I'm going to ride it out.
Mhm. Good. That's good. And thank you for sharing that, and thank you all for taking those notes and hearing the things. So whatever Lyneesha had shared that really touched your story or encouraged you, that divine connection, that thing that resonated with you, my encouragement is that you go with that, even that spark. Maybe it was a tug, maybe it was a touch, maybe it was a thought, maybe it was a place of remembrance. Just follow that. Sometimes you can't identify it right away that it's a place of pleasure. And again, while we're sharing things that are external situations like doing and going and different things like that, I want to encourage you to sit in a posture and place where it becomes pleasure to you, as like you're being a first partaker of this before you're like releasing it out to the world. And the reason why I'll say that is from my own story as well. I'm not saying that you have to experience the way that I have, but I'm just sharing by the area of what I've gone through. By it's easy to get caught up in the external validation, right? So you skip over self, and let's just say Lyneesha loves what she's doing, but she likes the, oh, Miss Lyneesha, you're doing this, or oh, that, like the feeling it makes you feel like we were talking about a little bit from there or whatever. But I know this woman has sat down and has done the work and has done the inner work and understands that the same gifts that she has that she's been doing by herself, creating, designing, inner work, all that stuff all by herself, right? Looking at, seeing this thing, oh, I enjoyed this, this was that, and then realizing, just sharing sometimes on social, it's
Mm-hmm.
not sharing to sell, sharing because you just enjoy the design. I
Yeah.
enjoy creating this,
Yeah.
and now I'm sharing it with the world, and now I get to share it. Oh, it's deeper than that. It's beyond the design. It's not just the design physical, it's the inner design, right? The inward design in the girl. And so now I get to tag team with those things and
Yeah.
do the inner design with the physical design. And so a lot of the things that we're seeing on the external world and realm that we get to do comes from who we are, from our area of our being. And so that's my encouragement when you're hearing the story. Is not, I don't want you to be in a place of just, oh, I got that idea, let me just go do. sit with that thing, look at the area of the pleasure that you're able to sit with and be, and release some of the pressure from other things. If one girl had shown up, Lyneesha had to make that decision that if I do this and only three show up, am I going to go ahead and do that? Now, I'm sure there is a business side when things make sense. I totally get that. And we are, it just doesn't make financial sense. But our motives of our heart as to why we're doing what we're doing have to be as line as well. So just go with that flow. And just like Doc says to us, is this or even better, good or better? And so when you're thinking about that and processing that, just keep that in your vibration, in your heart, and your mind, that even if it may look like different or beyond or lower than your expectation, trust that with the divine, what God has for you is good, great, is awesome. And whether you realize it or not, and just like I said before, I woke up heavy sometimes feeling, and now I look at it because of the projects that I'm working on, as far as the book that I'm writing, and far as the project. Well, now you're able to deal with the inner elevation kit. So one morning I got up and I was like, this is great data. I'm going to choose to enjoy this experience of feeling low, because now I get to pull out my own workbook that I've been living with and making sure that it works for me before it works for anybody else. So when I get up feeling, well, I have a tool. I'm grateful for the tool that I worked on. I'm grateful for the training that we got through Success is Spiritual. I'm grateful for all these things. And because of that, now I shifted. And sometimes you feel like, how can I come out of this? Just go with the enlightenment, with the illumination of the light of the divine within you that's leading and guiding you with these sources, so you can continue to move forward and just release the awesomeness that God has called and compelled you to be. Did you have something else beautiful?
No, that's good.
Oh, bless you. Bless you. We'll move right along. So we're going into the area of finding moments to enjoy the journey. So we kind of talked about it a little bit, but I'll be honest, I can remember when a time for me, it was hard to identify those moments. And I used to make fun of you from this, because we'd say, what do you want to go ahead and eat? You know where I was going. And you say, well, I don't want this. Or I say, well, let's go to Chick-fil-A, or let's go to Sullivan's now. I know you ain't turning that one down. No. But, and then you'll say, and I don't want this. So we'll be sometimes programmed as what we don't want. But when it came to an area of like what I want or what gave me joy or peace and pleasure, again, stripping from the external thing, but just for me, it took me so long to get there. Now I'm able to identify some things that what I enjoy and what gives me pleasure. But I think that comes from dating myself. I know that might sound unique, right? You going, no, I mean, literally like dating myself. And so I just want to, even before I go into my side of that, talk to us a little bit about, what helps you to enjoy this journey and what you look forward to in the area of your like real life application of things that you are finding, how you're finding joy and pleasure in your journey.
Well, that's major what you said, because I went through that same thing as well. Like, what do I enjoy? I can't remember how long ago it was now in therapy, when Doc was like, I want you to sit with what you enjoy. And I could not figure it out. I had so much other stuff that I was doing that I didn't even know what I enjoyed anymore. Right. And I think I'm going to get to your question, but I think what happens, at least for me, we're taught coming up, that, you think of others before yourself, and, you treat others, the way you want to be treated, but you give, you do for other people. And that was the way I had wired. I'll just say I wired myself, because I believed like, you make other people happy, you do what, makes them happy, then, everything is going to be great, right? Like, they're happy, then you'll be happy. And that was not the case, right? That was not the case. And so I think it took rewiring to first realize it's okay for you to enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
That alone was like a whole process for me. Realizing and accepting that I get to enjoy what I do. And if I don't enjoy it, I don't have to do it. Sometimes you do things because they need to be done, right? And that might not always be the funnest thing, but I get to choose things that give me joy and I get to do them.
Yes.
And so to answer your question, it's being intentional about doing those things. You and I decided we're going to start taking these little getaways and just do what we enjoy in that time. If we choose to do some work because it brings us joy in that moment, then we do it. If we choose to sit on the couch and just enjoy each other's company, then we do it. Like, eat good food, whatever it might be, but choosing to be in those moments and just be. And I think that's the major thing, and not feel guilty about it.
Yeah, not feel guilty about it, and not allow other thoughts or perceived thoughts from other people, right? You think they're feeling this about you. You think they're doing this. And to be very transparent, I had a conversation with a pastor friend today who came into my office, and I hadn't been plugged in a particular groups and meetings that we typically would have gone through. And I was just transparent. I was just like, look, I was in a space and a time where I didn't need to be connected to everybody because I had to realize who I am and what I have without the external validation aspect of it. But I also had to connect with the things that I feel called, compelled to do.
Yeah.
And being people who we spend a lot of our lives, and I still love to support vision of other people, but the thing that was in our heart and mind and gives us pleasure, it wasn't being done.
It was getting pushed to
getting pushed aside or getting so little bit of time within that. And so, when I made that shift, my phone started going off and people was, Christian, how you doing? How you feeling? And it's all people who love me, and I appreciate that. But when you shift into that space, and I really would respond and I said today, I really am wonderful. Like, I'm great.
Yeah.
Like, promise you, this is not like a post of just, oh, I'm good. No, like I'm wonderful. Like, I get up, I get to do what I desire to do. I get to do what I feel compelled to do. I have the space, the flexibility, the freedom to go ahead and operate in those places. Of course, there's things that I'm desiring and manifesting and different things like that. But I don't have complaints. At this time, sometimes you feel bad, or you can feel bad when you hear other people talk about how bad it is for them. And I'm not saying everything is perfect by the way that, again, but there's some things that we could choose to be upset about or disappointed, just like the next person.
Yeah.
But it's just so much when I sit and look at the abundance. Like, if you really think about it, like abundance, pleasure, joy, it's everywhere. Like, if we literally look around in the studio, these lines that are around, it's abundance of these lines that are around. It's abundant. And we start at the place of abundance. And like we learned through Doc and Success is Spiritual, like we start at a place of success. I'm not striving or thriving to be successful. Right. I already am.
Right.
I get to experience that. I get to share that. But when we miss the inner work, when we miss sitting with self and understanding that, then we project and we judge. And so I just chose to remove myself from those particular situations and phases till I could really solidify knowing what I have, who I am, and what I feel like I'm called to go ahead and do. And it's removing judgment. Some people feel like they need that. That is fine. But realizing, like, you know what? There is a humongous world out there and we're all connected. And I want to figure out how we can vibe as high as we can vibe and enjoy that journey. So I want to encourage you. We want to encourage you right where you are, where that tugging is, that pleasure. And you may be saying, Christian, I hear what you're saying, but even at that point in place where I know that there's greater, I know that I have that ability, but sometimes it just seems like it's difficult to come out of this. Trust me, I'd be like, Doc, how do you do this? You'd be like, well, it's simple. You just choose to. I'm like, it ain't that simple. It ain't that simple. You can't just but you can.
You can.
You actually can. And I think this is another thing I want to just give you guys. I'm giving some of the stuff that's in the inner elevation.
You giving the goods
and giving the goods away. All right, you gotta get your download, get your stuff. But sometimes you just gotta stop the pattern. What do you mean by that? if I find myself spiraling and a whole lot of negativity, like, you can stop the pattern. How do you stop the pattern, you may ask, right? A nap can stop that pattern.
Yeah.
Deep breathing can stop that pattern. Changing, putting on a different type of music. I said I wouldn't say this publicly, but this is public. I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. There's been times when nobody's in this house. Nobody's in the area of the studio. Nobody's in where we are. And I would just start dancing. And I will just put on stuff and just wow out, because I'm like, this will just shift where I'm at. And I ain't talking about like the little dancing I do around the house. A little funny. Like, I will go in and shift. I will dance. I will laugh. I will get from that place, because I realize that from what I produce, there's a higher level of vibration and feeling. And like we say, God doesn't just speak English. It speaks vibration. It speaks frequency. So I can say all day long in my lip service, I'm great, I'm awesome, I'm fine. But I got to get my thoughts, my words, my feelings to align with that place of pleasure. And if that song popped on and it did that thing, I'm like, you know what? If people was around, even my kids was around, I don't care. I just want to get this out. It's on the inside.
Yeah.
But now I want to express that. And I want to encourage you. I'm not, whether you need to dance, yell, jump, shout, whatever the case may be, just choose to enjoy the moment. Even the smallest things, but even sometimes it's a thought. I will get on the TikTok and I will scroll and I'll find something funny to laugh, and I'll just process some things. And I just want to encourage you guys, as you're operating, I'm encouraging you not to fall into the trap that everything is horrible and that it has to be hard and that it has to be something that you struggle through, and that somehow makes you more sanctified, more amazing, more awesome, more closer to the divine, to God, the source of life, because I'm going through something, then I'm being attacked, and whatever the case may be. I'm just inviting you to actually choose to embrace even what may feel like it's tearing the muscle, that it's making me stronger. And it might not feel good. That's not what I'm saying. Like, oh, I got punched in the mouth. Woo, I'm the Lord. No. But however, I can be grateful that even that punch in the mouth could have been something that was different, right? Or whatever. So just choose those and go from joy to joy, glory to glory, love to love, life to life. And if somebody else gives you attitude, you can choose to not participate in the vibration that they're releasing. Beautiful.
That's good. You said, just in the moments having a choice, and another thing that I have been doing even more recently. I think it was Dr. Beckwith that I heard share about this. And he was speaking about something specific, but I took the principle of taking your mind to a place where you felt that high vibe. So a moment in your past, you say don't dwell in the past, but a moment you can pinpoint where you still know what the feeling felt like, and just sit in that moment for just a moment, so you feel the feelings. And what you're doing is you're teaching your body and your mind that that's a good thing. And that's what you desire. Like you said earlier, like I was very good at saying what I don't want. And I'm learning, and I've learned that putting my energy and my focus on what I do want changes the game, because constantly thinking about what I don't want is only bringing what I don't want more.
Oh, that's that.
Because it's that energy. I'm attracting, so like attracts like, right? So if my mind is not registering the don't part, it's just registering the feeling. My vibration is registering what I'm feeling when I think about that thing. So why spend my time thinking about things that I don't enjoy? When I can think about what brings me joy, what puts a smile on my face, what I would love to do day in and day out, thinking about those things and letting that vibration just keep going higher and higher, and those opportunities will present themselves.
This is good. I think we can continue to talk and talk and talk. There's a couple more things that I want to leave room for, but as we are somewhat wrapping up, don't go anywhere. Baby, I want to know one thing that you want everybody who is listening to remember about finding pleasure in the process.
That you deserve to find pleasure. You deserve it.
It's a song in my head. I won't sing it. You deserve it. I love it.
Now it's in my head too.
Well,
Thanks.
bless you. Good. All right. That's that. So Elevation Nation, what's one takeaway that you what's one takeaway that you have from this episode and that resonated with you beyond just posting it? What I want to invite you to do is journal that, write that down, take that with you, because that's crucially important, right? Drop that in the comments if you desire to, because we would love to hear those thoughts, but really for your own personal growth and where you are. Also, if this conversation spoke to you, remember to download the Inner Elevation Toolkit. Again, the link is in the comment section as well as in the description. And we, yes, that's yes, 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 and yes. All right. So it's filled with tools to support you to find and maintain that peace and that joy, that alignment for everyday life. Right. And so, get it, share it with someone, and continue to move forward for that. Babe, you have mentioned it a number of times, but I want you to give people, because I believe everybody can actually take part in this right now, what I'm about to say, right? You have something incredible that is coming up that whether they are local, whether they are abroad, that they can sponsor a young lady for her designs lab. And so, you know, share a little bit of how they can do that, what it's really about, and where they can go ahead and show some support if they want to.
Yeah. So again, her design lab is a class, but I'm starting to call it a program because I have vision for it to go much bigger than even just me. But it's for right now young ladies who are 10 to 16 years old, and it's just providing a space for them to learn a new skill or learn new skills, because I plan to bring in other experts to teach various things. So it won't just be me teaching what I do, but bringing others in as well. But more importantly, learning to love themselves, learning to be confident in who God created them to be, and to really choose joy, to choose peace, to choose the life that they desire to live, even at the age that they're at right now. They can start creating and building that life. And so we're providing that space, a positive space. Right now, we're in an urban area where there's not always those opportunities. So we want to create that space for them. We want to be able to do that without financially putting a burden on their families. So we do accept sponsorships, businesses, individuals who would like to give, who connect with that vision. You can go to our website, Expanding Brands. Expanding is with an X, there is no E. Expandingbrands.com. And under the menu, you can go to Her Design Lab Supporters. And it'll tell you a little bit more about what we're doing. You'll get to see some videos and some pictures of some of the young ladies who have been a part so far. And it'll give you more details on how you can support, or if you want to sign up a young lady for a scholarship, there's also a link there. If you know someone who could use something positive in their life, then you can have them sign up for the scholarship, and they'll be on our list then for upcoming events.
Yeah, we'll make sure to, speaking to the team, that the link is also there in the comment section as well as in the descriptions for that. But publicly, I just want to say I'm proud of you, because if you didn't say yes, and these young ladies we get to see, me and or the boys, we sneak in there from time to time just to check in on you. Sometimes taking pictures and just seeing and listening to what's going on, and it's a blessing that you gave your sacred yes. And so continue to do that. It's going to continue to grow. Again, why wouldn't the divine continue to open up doors for that? So I'm proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing. And Elevation Nation, keep doing what you are doing. As a matter of fact, we thank you for joining us today. And our prayer, our desire is that may good, great, and awesomeness continue to flow to you and through you all day long. Remember to embrace that flow, align with peace, align with joy, find pleasure in every step of your journey. You are amazing, you are awesome, and it's only up from here. All right. Blessings, and we will see you soon.